I was kind of hoping I didn't have to snowshoe, because I know how slow going snowshoeing is. This snow is pretty deep. It's a good 2 feet in some areas. I met 2 guys at the trailhead from Troy, Michigan. We kind of had to dig out the trailhead parking area so we could park our trucks. Because apparently not a lot of people do this. I'm in the Huron National Forest at Hoist Lake Footpath Area. And I'm doing some tobogganing. And it's pretty cold. We just had some record cold temperatures last 4 days here in Michigan. And I'm gonna try to do some hot tenting for the first time in a homemade canvas hot tent, complete with homemade stove. So we'll see how that goes. I'm about a half a mile from where I want to camp, and I am extremely exhausted. It's about 0 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's pretty cold. I'm a little sweaty, so, and I have very little water with me, so it's a priority to get this tent set up, which should take me a little bit because it'll be my first time. Get some firewood, get that stove cooking so I could start to boil some water and fill up my reserve bottles and maybe make a little lunch. Alright, I hope I'm almost there. It's so brutally cold outside today. I got my hot tent set up. It's toasty in here. Let my feet dry off. It was a grueling hike in here today. It was only 2 miles. I don't know how much weight I was carrying. Probably 80 pounds, 100 pounds. It was a lot. Glad I'm here. I am spent. Boiling some water on the stove. I probably only have enough logs to keep me for, I don't know, half the night. So it's gonna be interesting. All right, good night. There's all these deer scrapes where they're digging for food. This whole forest area is tore up with them. Found a lot of deer scat, a lot of coyote scat. There's a mix. Like this trail right here is coyote trail mixed with all these deer digging area where they're trying to find some food. And right now I'm trying to find some dinner. Just don't know what that's gonna be yet. Might be a granola bar. Give you a tour of my hot tent that I built before I take it down, because I think I'm gonna get out of here. They're predicting freezing rain, and I'm a little bit farther back than I had planned. I was planning on only staying within a half hour of the vehicle, but I'm in about, oh God, it took about 2.5 hours to get back here. I do not want to get stuck in the freezing rain. Anyways, the whole thing is made out of a canvas tarp you can get at your home center. It's a 10-ounce weight, heavy duty, and it is, I do believe, a 9x12. I designed it to be 6 feet wide at the base, with about, I think it's like a 2 foot or 18-inch rise vertically up before it hits the slopes. I put grommets in as pass-throughs just so this could act as a flap against the wind. The whole point of this was do something kind of quick, not spend too much time building it, but still be able to use it and function, and spend more time using it than actually building it. So I kind of went simple. The whole thing is based off of a ridge line. All my stuff drying there. And the whole thing can slide. So then I sew down these tabs, and then I put a pressing knot on here, just a friction knot, so we could tighten it. Same down here. Put a grommet and a pressing knot. I'm just using a friction hitch here with a snow anchor in the ground. Just a log about 18 inches wide, buried in the snow. And I could adjust this with this knot. That goes for all the knots. My next step is to sew in a front with some doors. You can see this silly clip back here because it is a work in progress. Just kind of draped a piece of canvas over the back. But my next step is to actually sew that in. Everything's sewn with a speedy stitcher that you can get at your craft store, usually in the leather department. I actually used some of the sinew that was in there, a little overkill. But it's something you can do while you're watching TV. Doesn't take very long. And then for the stove jack, I used one of those fancy space age silicone cookie sheets you can get. It is made out of silicone and fiberglass, and just cut a hole in there, sewed it on. With this thing roaring last night, it was not getting too hot around the edges. This was perfect. Probably will leak if it starts raining. It definitely will leak if it starts raining. So let's go inside, check it out. It was so toasty in here last night. It got down to negative 28 Fahrenheit. God, when I came in here, I had a t-shirt on with this thing going. So this is made out of some two like chafing dishes, like catering dishes that you would eat some nasty mastacholi out of. Everything was done with spare parts, with the exception of the 3-inch stovepipes, which I cut down to size, and they fit all inside of here. Everything is bolted together. That way I could field service it if I needed to. Gosh, everything is very self-explanatory. I wanted something simple. I didn't want to over-engineer everything. Can't really see on the inside, but there is a baffle, which I could see last night. The fire hitting that baffle. Like, I'm so glad I had that baffle, because the fire would have just shot up the chimney up to almost the roof. It would have been flames. With that baffle, it hit the baffle, stopped the heat, kept the heat here to radiate out. I think I'm glad I put that in there. This stove worked out great. I ran out of wood at about midnight. I was prepared to run out of wood, so it wasn't a big deal. Again, I had this tarp that I laid down. Well, let's go take a look at that. I had this tarp that I laid down, keep me dry, because it did get a little wet underneath me. I've got a 20-degree down sleeping bag, and then a 0-degree poly filled sleeping bag, one inside the other. Kept me pretty toasty. Actually, most of the night, even after the fire went out, I had my 20-degree down unzipped, laying on top of it inside of this. So this toboggan, which is actually, my kids were sledding on it just a week and a half ago. That was my ride in. I had a lot of gear, probably 100 pounds. I plan on adding it all up just for my own knowledge. Future winter camping trips. I haven't been winter camping hardcore in a long time. It's been probably 15-20 years. But I'm finding more time to be able to do these things. Super important to me. So I'm trying to find new innovative ways to get outdoors, and hot tenting. I kind of liked it. God, it's like there's a storm rolling in now. We're supposed to get freezing rain, so I'm gonna start to pack up before the storm hits and begin my trek out of here. So let's go. I'm guessing you probably can't see a thing. I could see a little bit. So with the impending freezing rain coming, I decided to make a meal over a campfire and get the heck out of there. Been walking for a mile so far. It's so much easier now that there's a trail where we packed down everything. Still pretty grueling though, very slow moving. Still have to use the snowshoes. Got another mile to go. We're 0.65 miles, less than a mile, which motivates me to get back to the truck before I gotta get out the flashlight. I still may have to.